This is a yin yoga session for the spleen and stomach meridians. So coming into a cross-legged pose and taking time to arrive on the cushion or the earth beneath. Once you've connected with the breathing, allow the in-breath to signify a moment of pause and the out-breath to allow the body to soften. And then connecting in with our three inner languages, the language of the body, heart, and mind. So feeling whatever sensations are moving through the body at present. Maybe places of aching or tightness, or maybe the tingling of a body that's alive. Simply feeling what's here without trying to change anything. Next, we notice the evaluation from the heart. Does this moment feel pleasant or neutral or unpleasant? And can we simply allow this feeling tone to be as it is, without grasping onto pleasant feelings or pushing away unpleasant feelings? Can we also stay present and focused if the feeling tone is neutral? Or does the mind tend to wander away into the past or the future? Returning to this moment and checking in with the head mind. What is the pace and direction of thoughts at the moment? Maybe we notice that this time of connection allows the thoughts to settle a little, bringing us into the present moment. And then bringing hands together at the heart and setting our intention, giving us the motivation to practice, even at times when we might feel like doing something different. So in this moment, I wish to cultivate mindful awareness of my body, heart and mind, knowing it's for my own deepest well-being and for the benefit of all those whose lives mind touches. So our first pose is a wide-kneed child's pose. Initially come into a normal child's pose, and then spreading the knees as wide as you can, while keeping the weight back in the hips. In order to nourish the stomach meridian line, we can move into a twist, taking the right shoulder towards the left knee and bringing the left hand onto the sacrum. Taking a pillow under the head for comfort and to allow the neck to be supported. With the arm outstretched, resting the whole of the arm onto the floor, and then settling into the pose, remembering the three principles: to move to the edge, to stay a while with the muscles soft and relaxed, and to allow the time and gravity to do the work. During the course of 3 minutes, we can take time to deepen our breathing rhythm, inviting the in-breath all the way down into the belly, the lower tantien, and softening the body towards the earth on the out-breath. Feel the gentle flow of breath, anchoring the mind in the present moment. When there's a time of quiet, we may find the mind wanders away. So we just bring it back again and again, to the sensations in the body and the experience of the breath flowing in and flowing out. Allowing the in-breath to be an opportunity to draw energy into the body. And allowing the out-breath to be soothing and relaxing. And at the end of 3 minutes, releasing the twist to the right side and gently moving over to the left, drawing the left shoulder towards the right knee as far as it will go, and then resting on the outstretched arm, taking a pillow under the head for comfort and to allow the neck to be supported. Remembering to keep the weight back in the hips so that there's no stress on the knee joint. And then once again, tuning into the breath, allowing the in-breath to draw all the way into lower Tantien, the ground of our being, and letting the out-breath flow out along any places of sensation. And while you rest here, tracing the spleen and stomach meridian lines through the body. The spleen meridian begins at the big toe and comes up the inside of the leg just next to the liver channel. It moves through the torso into the groin, enters the stomach and spleen, and goes up through the diaphragm, chest, and heart, ending at the root of the tongue. The stomach meridian begins next to the nose and goes back down through the diaphragm into the stomach and spleen once more, and then moves down along the top of the leg, ending at the second toe. Feeling how this wide-kneed child's pose affects the spleen meridian as the tissues are stretched along the inner legs, and also feeling the stomach channel that flows down the front of the belly is being twisted and nourished by this pose. So taking 2 more breaths. And on your next in-breath, softly lifting out of wide-kneed child's pose. Pressing your weight into both hands, bring the knees back together, trying not to drag the legs, but lifting one knee and then the other. And then resting in child's pose for a few breaths. Our next pose is Dragon Pose. So from child's pose, push up onto all fours, and then step the left foot forward into a lunge, allowing the hips to draw forward towards the left foot until you feel the appropriate amount of intensity a sense of coming to our edge. For comfort in this pose, you may like to place a blanket under the knee so that the lower leg rests onto a soft surface and the muscles can relax, moving us deeper in to the connective tissue and the more subtle experiences of stretching into the fascia. You can rest the hands on the fingertips, on the floor, or place blocks either side of the foot, allowing the right leg to be extended far back behind you. You can also place the hands or elbows on the inside of the front foot, resting down onto the forearms, and then staying in this pose for 3 minutes, recognizing that the power of gravity will deepen you into the lunge, so softening the muscles as much as possible, while staying at an edge that feels doable, where you can bring a sense of curiosity, exploring the changes as the time lengthens and the pose deepens. Using the gentle flow of breath to hold your mind's attention in the moment and returning to the breath again and again at the times when the mind wanders. At an energetic level, when spleen chi is balanced, our cycles are in harmony. We feel earthy, sensual and full. When spleen chi is out of balance, we may feel lethargic, weak or dull. Our rhythms, such as sleeping and breathing and thinking, will seem off. When it's time to come out, gently bring your weight back, away from the left foot, and exhale as you bring the left knee in line with the right. And then to change sides, simply come forward with the right foot, and repeat dragon on this side. While supporting some of the weight of the body in the arms, gently relax the muscles of the legs, experiencing that deep stretch through the front of the left thigh and into the right groin. And while you rest here, reflecting on the qualities of the spleen and the stomach. The spleen is a blood reservoir for time of emergencies, about the same size as the heart, and it sits just behind the stomach on the left side, underneath the diaphragm. It produces lymphocytes which destroy and recycle old red blood cells. It's also the site where white blood cells, which fight infection, trap organisms. The stomach lies to the left of the diaphragm and is the primary organ of digestion, receiving food and beginning the process of assimilation and distribution. All usable nutrients are sent to the spleen, while impurities move through the small intestine for further filtration. Food usually stays in the stomach for 3 to 4 hours before passing on. The stomach provides one of the most valuable functions of all, because our energy is nourished by it on all levels. We need to take in unpolluted food and water for healthy functioning of the body, as the main disruption to healthy stomach chi is our diet. And after 3 minutes, softly easing back, bringing the right knee now in line with the left, and settling back into child's pose. Our next pose is saddle pose. So from child's pose, sitting back on the heels, and then parting the knees slightly. The heels can either stay under the buttocks, or you can place your feet beside your hips in order to elongate and stretch through the top of the thighs. If this pose feels risky for your knees at all, then take Sphinx instead. Once the weight is settled on the heels and away from the knees, gently lean back. First taking the weight on the hands, and then maybe the forearms. Just finding yourself to your first edge. And as far as possible, relaxing there and deepening the breath. If there's not too much strain on the quadriceps, then come down onto the elbows or the upper back. Maybe resting on a bolster or a cushion. Feeling the stretch through the front of the body, as well as through the quads, coaxing chi along the stomach meridian line. At an emotional level, the spleen chi is connected with the earth element and the sense of feeling at home inside ourselves. It's related to the ability to take in nourishment on all levels of the body and mind. Spleen chi is the link between the self and the world outside. And this quality of adaptation is connected psychologically with spontaneity, our ability to assess a situation and come up with an appropriate response. Spleen chi is also associated with clear thinking and the capacity to make connections and to experience understanding and insight. And when it's time to come out, remember to take a deep in-breath, strongly engaging the muscles of the abdomen, bringing the hands to where the elbows have been and gently pushing up, releasing from the pose, bringing the knees together and sitting back on the heels. You can then shift your weight to one side or other of the feet, bringing the legs out in front, the Dragonfly Pose. Taking the legs wide until you feel sensation along the inner thighs. This pose aims to stimulate the spleen meridian. So remember that you can sit onto a cushion or have the knees supported as well with some props. And either staying upright or gently breathing your way forward, resting the weight on the hands, softly lifting the lower ribs to allow the diaphragm space to move and to allow the time and gravity to do the work. We can use pranic cultivation in this pose to ease the sensations along the inner thighs. So drawing breath deep into the belly. And then on the exhale, imagine that breath, that energy flowing along the inner thighs, the back of the legs, any place where there's sensation. Imagining the energy soothing, smoothing the tighter parts of the body. You can also experiment with the pauses in the breath cycle. So after an in-breath, experience that short moment of pause before the out-breath releases from the body. At the end of the out-breath, there may be a longer pause, a moment of deep stillness, a place where we begin to experience tranquility in both body and mind. Remembering to allow the muscles to relax. The toes might drop inwards or outwards, depending on the natural rotation of your hips. And stay here a while. Learning to bear witness to the increasing intensity of sensation. Knowing too that everything passes and we can stay steady at times of difficulty, as well as savoring deeply times of joy. Taking 2 more deep breaths, acknowledging the pause at the end of the inhale and the exhale. And then allow the next in-breath to lift you up. You may need to help the knees by just lifting underneath them and bringing them in one at a time. And to complete the spleen and stomach meridian sequence, we rest back in Shavasana, our deep relaxation pose. Letting the heels come to the edge of your mat, the toes softening outwards, the knees, the pelvis opening. Drawing the shoulder blades down the back so that the chest and the heart can open. And then maybe resting the hands on the belly. This experience of the natural state of awareness can be the most nourishing posture of all. And you can remain in Shavasana for as long as you have time for, maybe pausing the recording. And then when it's time for the practice to come to its end, gently bringing movement into the toes, into the fingers, allowing one knee followed by the other to draw up into the chest, and then rolling to whichever side seems to beckon. Finding your way back up into a cross-legged pose, sitting on a blanket or a cushion, and finding what's known as Sukhasana, a pose of ease, where we offer our dedication, maybe bringing hands together at the heart and making the deep, sincere wish that whatever benefit we've gained from practicing in this way, we offer out to all sentient beings in ever-widening circles. Namaste.